Good morning, good afternoon, exporters, trade managers, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today as we dive a little bit deeper into online marketing in China. We really appreciate you taking the time to join us today. During the webinar, we'll be looking at some of the bigger players, some of the platforms, and really giving you a flavor of what different tactics and techniques can really be helpful and can help you grow your business as export, sales, and brand within China. As we wait for the next few attendees to log on, I can see there are still a few people logging on. Just a quick couple of remarks about today's session. Please be aware that all participants will be muted during the session just to provide the best sound quality. If you have any question or any technical difficulties, please do feel free to pop that in the chat or in the question box in your taskbar, and this will be monitored throughout the webinar. Any questions will then be passed on to the team for the Q&A at the end, and really anything that you would like to know, any further details, please do ask, and we'll try our best to save some time at the end to go through as much of that as possible. There is a handout as well for you to download if you wish to, our infographic about going online in China. But perfect, without further ado, then I'll move forward with today, and I'll just introduce ourselves. So today I am delighted to be joined by my two colleagues, Fiona Chan and Sydney Wu, online marketing managers here at IBT Online. They are very much our in-house experts on Chinese website localization and digital marketing in China. So thank you guys for joining me today to share experience, expertise, and top tips with our attendees. My name is Joelle Lazarotto. I'm the Senior Online Marketing Manager here at IBT Online, and I'm really looking forward to sharing some of our, again, experiences, what we've learned, and hopefully provide some value in supporting you in your journey into China. Before we get started, a brief word about who we are. So who we are as a company. IBT Online, IBT Online really stands for International Business and Technology, and we are 100% focused on supporting exporters leverage those tools. So website localization, international online marketing, e-commerce. We are a private organization. We're proud to really have been awarded the President's E Award for Export Services. You know, we are headquartered in the US, but with presence in teams that cover the globe, both physically and in terms of expertise. So we've been around since 2002, and really, as I've mentioned, we are very much focused on supporting US exporters go global by leveraging online tools. And today we'll be focusing a little bit more on the Chinese market. Before we get into the agenda for today, I also wanted to highlight our online global programs. And this is something that we'll talk a little bit more during the webinar, but again, really proud to have been able to roll this out with over 25 US states, and these programs are really dedicated to help exporters leverage those online tools, so website localization, international marketing, e-commerce. And really here we've just listed some of the great advantages that these programs have brought to our current companies that we've been able to help and work with. But just in a nutshell, we build and manage international websites and international online marketing campaigns, and this all comes in all shapes and sizes. There is no one size fits all. So really, these programs have been built to generate successes, but also be tailored and customizable to your industry, your business need, and your international goals. So in the next few slides, we'll also present some practical examples, some case studies of companies who have been through the process, just to give you a bit of a flavor of what can be achieved. So diving into today, we have a rather ambitious agenda. If you look, we have broken it down into 6 different sections, but we'll promise we'll have you back at your desk within the hour. The idea today is to provide you with an information-packed, pragmatic, and helpful resources webinar, including time at the end, as I've mentioned, for Q&A. So anything that you'd like to know, any question, please do pop them into the question box. And again, before we dive into our first section today, just looking at online in China and what it looks like to go behind the firewall, so to speak, I'd just like to find out a little bit more about you guys are with us today. So nice and off the, just to get us started, I'd like to launch a very first poll today. So we'll have a couple of these throughout the webinar, just really to allow us to, you know, to gain some expertise and get some feedback from you guys. So just in terms of, you know, letting us know whether you are already, you know, doing marketing in China, or you're marketing your business in China, whether you're doing it directly, whether you're doing it through your local distributor, or you have someone else doing it for you, or whether you're just, you know, thinking about it and getting started. So I can see the responses started to come through. Nice even mix, actually. Quite a few of you are doing it, but slight majority seems to actually be have handled this through your local distributor. So this is another element we can cover today in terms of the pro and the cons. A few of you are thinking about it, so we hope that today we'll be able to share some interesting and useful information. Just giving a few more seconds. I can see a few of you are still trying to work out the polls and keep them coming in. Okay, fantastic. As I said, fairly even split, but quite a few of you who are already trying and getting some marketing out there in China. So it'd be interesting to hear, you know, if there is anything that comes up from the content we're sharing today that is helpful, or any questions on what you're currently doing. Perfect. Let me just close this poll then as we move into then the first section of our webinar today, and really diving into, as I said, online in China. So just a quick introduction before we dive into the marketing. I just really wanted to, first of all, set the scene and focusing on the big picture. So we all know that China is quite large in terms of population and landmass, but what to focus on in this slide is really the, you know, the 65% of the population being internet users. So 1.4 billion people in China, and nearly 62% urbanization, but 65% of the population are internet users, and even more, they are active social media users, which is very, very unique to China. Interestingly, there are more mobile phone connection than people. So being mobile friendly, again, is an absolute must and is an absolute key for this specific market. But not only are you know, the numbers impressive, but they're growing, and population, mobile connection, internet users, social media users are all going up constantly by the millions. So again, if you're not, you know, for those of you that were thinking about it, now is it really is the time to start putting your marketing and your brand on the map in China, as the opportunities are really growing by the moment. To really understand, you know, China's online environment, again, I wanted to highlight 3 characteristics that are the ones that strike us the most when we work with our clients in China, and will be a common theme really throughout the presentation. The first is that it is a very, very highly mobile-focused market, as we saw in the previous slide. And here I just really wanted to stress again that being mobile-first market means it's very fast-moving. Something about using mobile to access the internet really encourages the use of apps, more development, more change, and these also means more disruption to existing models or what we know. So once you get used to something, is unlikely to last for long. So ever-changing and very dynamic market. But more apps, more disruption also really fosters more social media. People everywhere are using search with social, and this is very true of China. Maybe you don't always trust the retail sector or the public sector, or maybe you have just suffered a lot from like counterfeit scams, whatever. It really feels a lot more reassuring to get a recommendation and thoughts from your friends and peer group than from official sources. So social media is really, really becoming a very trust-building platform where people go to find reassurance and information from other customers. So for example, you're looking to buy a new car, you go to your social media and ask your friend what they think could be a good deal for you, where have they bought the last car, experiences. So content is therefore very, very personalized, and that's the way you need to think about it. The third characteristic really is all interlinked, trusted digital payment structure. You know, again, is important to keep an eye between voice mobile, voice social, voice e-commerce. And in China, there are some pretty big giants that we'll dive into in a little moment that really play an important part across all of those lines, making them a little bit blurred when you're looking to do business in China. So again, mobile first, taking a deeper dive into this. 97% use mobile devices for internet access, and this is on a daily basis. So I guess that is, you know, why big screen Samsung had such an early success there. You know, recent survey noted from our research that 52% of Chinese consumers shop using their mobile phone on a weekly or even daily basis. So it really does mean that more people shop using mobile phone than actually going into a store on a weekly basis. So the graph here really just gives us an estimate of the e-commerce versus, you know, m-commerce in the US versus China. And the conclusions that can be made here of this forecast is there's just a minority are not using their mobile phones. So that is something, again, to keep in mind. Chinese users can book movie tickets, order wedding services, manage their financial investment, all from the smartphones. By contrast, not all of these are available other than online or mobile. So if you're not mobile first, sometimes you're risk to be cut off. So for example, you know, the lack of a developed credit card system in China means that mobile payment is the first and sometimes the only non-cash payment experience for many of the users. We've mentioned earlier again that a mobile first model is very fast moving and quite disruptive. I just wanted to give you an example here of what happened with Uber, for example, a brand we're all, or a name we're all familiar with. So in the case of Uber in China, what was really interesting is the fact that Uber services took off much faster there than they did in the US or other regions in the world. So Uber's top 3 most popular cities worldwide, Guangzhou, Hangzhou, and Chengdu, were all in China. And the important reason is that Chinese users are ready adopters of mobile devices and social network technologies. As soon as an app is released, they're ready to use it, they're ready to engage with it, and off they go. And this is really still the case for Uber after they've actually been bought from a homegrown ride-sharing giant called Didi Chuxing, I think, that bought them off 18 months ago. But this just to say really that the implication can be quite profound and important for any business that's looking to go into China. China is not only the largest market for mobile application, but probably also the best lab to test them. And this is because new mobile application can receive market feedback and achieve some meaningful scale much quicker in China than in any other developed market. Social media obviously is a point of interest for us today, and it's also huge in China. And these numbers, I think, prove it. Not only is used for personal purpose, like chatting with friends, shopping, checking in on what friends and family are doing, and, you know, sharing fun memes and gifts, but it's also very widely used for work purposes at a greater rate than the majority of the world. Just to give you some context here, in the US, 87% of the population is online, and 70% are active social media users. But only 27% of them, you know, report using it for work purposes. But we do spend, you know, an average of 2 hours a day on social media, whereas 95% of viewed social media, you know, in the past month. So as well connected as social media savvy we are, China is even more. If you see here, you know, 98% of people use social media network or messaging services in the past month. So everyone is on their mobile, everyone is in the apps, everyone is on social media. And here, you know, you might ask, what social media platform are they spending all of this time on? And here is where it gets interesting. So not only China is very social media heavy, but it's also extremely unique. So you might be familiar with names like Wechat, Weibo, Baidu, Tencent. Here are the dominant players. And today we're really going to take a deeper dive into some of those giants, who they are, but more importantly, how can you leverage them to grow your traffic, engagement, and your conversion in China. So before we get into the specifics of the few platforms I've mentioned here, I'll just wanted to hand over to my colleague Fiona, who will give us a little background on what it means to go online in China, and then we'll dive into marketing in the specifics.
Okay, thank you, Joelle. So, before we dive into the specific platforms, I want to step back and start from the main element of your online success in China, your website. So, I want to give you a few tips about the Chinese websites and how to make sure they have a good local user experience. So, first of all, you need to have a Mandarin website to rank on all Chinese search engines, not only because the users are Chinese, but also due to the difficulty of ranking English words on all these search engines, specifically for the dominant search engine on the Chinese internet like Baidu. So you need to make sure you're using the right Chinese as well. Simplified Chinese is what most of the companies use for their website, as it is the official type of the Chinese to use in China. And then the styling. So styling is very important, not just for the look, but also for the readability. So with Chinese character, even for the simplified Chinese, it can get really hard to read sometimes, especially on a mobile phone if you don't choose the right fonts and sizes. So that is also why most of the website don't use bold, because the character can get impossible to read. And it is better to use colors to highlight important message and phrases. So, thank you. So, certain colors are traditionally favored by the Chinese. So, for example, like red colors, which mean like celebration, and QR codes are very important, as the Chinese internet users are used to using QR code, especially on their mobiles. So for the Chinese character, because they are shorter than most of the English sentences, so it's really important to test your layout and format once you have your translation, and make sure the catchphrase is on one line, not broken into different lines, as it can get very hard to read. So the Chinese website tend to be more crowded and image heavy if you have been to a different Chinese website, more so than most of the American website that we've seen most of the time. And it's very important to choose the right images for your Chinese website, the one that your Chinese prospect finds the most relevant. And finally, getting back to Baidu. When you launch your website in China, Baidu has to review it and approve it. So, for example, if there are links back to your US website, Baidu might disapprove. So, this is just a reminder that the Chinese internet environment is very China centric and specific. And if you're interested in knowing more about the website localization for China, we have a dedicated webinar, and you can find it on our website as a free resource. So now let's look at the some of the online strategies companies have used to grow their business in China. So it is not rocket science that we know the e-commerce is booming, but it is important to keep in mind that setting up your e-store in China might be a little harder than it seems. So just to give some content, e-commerce in China represent over 40% of the global B2C sales. And setting up an e-commerce platform can look easy, but you need to keep in mind that a few important aspects to do in doing business in China. So first of all, you need a Chinese registered company. And then your customers will expect you to have a Chinese in-market customer support services around the clock, which can be quite difficult to organize from all the way from the US, another part of the world. So another cultural thing to keep in mind is how your users shop. So QR codes, as we have mentioned before, are very popular, and it is used to access sites, discount, or even your social media handle, etc. And the last but not least element to consider are the annual fees and hidden costs for commissions to the platform that you use, which can impact your bottom line if not being careful. So you may heard of Alibaba, China's dominant e-commerce group. So it originally started as a B2B portal connecting to Chinese merchant manufacturers with overseas buyers. So it is today the largest e-commerce company in the world, measured by the gross merchandise volume. And it then moved from a marketplace to a social commerce platform. It allows the consumer to have fun exploring, buying, etc. So just to give you some comparison to something familiar to you, Amazon have like 3 million package sent out a day, and Alibaba has about like 12 million packages sent out per day. So another giant that you're likely to encounter when doing business in China is Tencent. So it is found in the late 90s and it is now to China's most valuable company. So they are the company behind some of the more familiar names like QQ and QZone that you may heard of, which in 2011 became the Wechat. And we will dive into this a little later today. So altogether, Tencent product and services, including the social network like QQ, WeChat, QZone, the page services such as Tenpay, WeChat Pay, QQ Volume, and etc. But they also expand to the entertainment sectors as well. Tencent right now is the largest video games publisher in the world. It has a stack in two of the most popular games that you may heard of, Fortnite and the PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Fiona, for this quick introduction of some of the big names that again will come back time and time again. Before we dive again into the very specifics of the marketing strategy for China, Fiona mentioned obviously website localization is the first step to launching your brand into China. So I just would like to launch a very quick poll before we move on, just to see, as we mentioned, we have dedicated resources and webinars on the website. But again, I just wanted to know if anyone that is attending today would like to, to learn more about localized websites for China specifically, then we'd be more than happy to provide direct information or get in touch with you to discuss how this could be achieved for your brand. So please just do let us know here. There is absolutely no, you're not signing up to anything just yet, just receiving some information. But we do feel that having a localized presence, and we'll see that why a little bit later, really is important to getting your marketing strategy right in the Chinese market. So very good to see a few of you, quite a few of you responding, and we'll be sending out a lot of information after this webinar. So thank you so much. It's great to see that the interest is definitely there, and we'll be in touch with you guys directly as over the next couple of days with some more information. Fantastic. Perfect. Then moving on and really diving into the topic for today, Fiona, back to you to have a look at Baidu.
Thank you. So let's keep all of these in mind. We're now going to dive into some of the main marketing platforms that would and should be included in your marketing efforts in growing your traffic, engagement, even conversions on your localized Chinese website. So why Baidu? The key thing that every company has to know about doing business in China is that the Western search engines such as Google that we use a lot is banned in China. So the best search engine to use as an alternative in the Chinese market is Baidu. So Baidu is now the dominant search engine in China with over 76% of the market share. And it is also the longest running search engine in China as well. So Baidu was launched in 2000 and it has established a relatively mature structure when comparing to other search engines in the market. Baidu offers more advertising options and products than other Chinese search engines. For example, you can run in-feed ads and create brand zones, which give you different varieties to reach your target audience. And it also offers a more detailed audience segmentation features to enable you to obtain industry search insight on your Baidu analytic platform. So Baidu also offers a drag and drop landing page builder, which can be linked to your Baidu ads campaigns. So these functions are useful for extracting the key consumer insight to better inform your campaigns. So when you enter into China, you need to prepare to ditch your Google and Bing or even DuckDuckGo behind, and be ready to embrace the Baidu way of being found. So now you understand that the Baidu search engine marketing is a great place to start your paid advertising on the search engine in China. And unlike Google search engine, the first page of Baidu search result is always packed with advertisement, which show that the Baidu respond better to paid traffic than the organic traffic, aka the free traffic. So on Baidu advertising, you can run both search and display ad just like what you have done in Google Ads. So the cost per click price is also based on the market bids, namely on supply and demand. By the way, but the way you set up is very difficult, very different and difficult than comparing to Google Ads, because you need to pay a deposit as an administrative fee, uploading your Chinese business license and include a Chinese phone number as the main content. So needless to say, there are a lot of Chinese internet policy paperwork involved. So there are many more differences comparing to Google Ads. As we have mentioned before, Baidu has a range of services, functions, and products that you can use, such as they have a specific area just to promote your brand. It's called Brand Zone, and it can be expensive but worth thinking about for your brand strategy. So there is something called the Baidu Knowledge. It is a free resource like a forum. It's a bit like a Yahoo Q&A if you ever used it. So anyone can ask a question and you can participate in answering. It is one of the few ways that can get a free brand awareness. And then there is Baidu information feed ads. So these are very interesting. It's completely different than what you have used on Google Ads, because you can play ads that are displayed in a content-driven Baidu product like Baidu News. Just like Google Ads, you should measure and calculate the performance of your campaigns to get a further optimization to get a good returns. So now let's go deeper into Baidu advertising. So Baidu is really depend on pay-per-click advertising to get your brand noticed. So it is really important to get the keywords right. So in other words, do not use Google Translate. So put in this way, if you have the wrong word, you will be paying Baidu with each wrong click for nothing, because you are bidding on the wrong keyword for your ads. So the keywords need to be localized and culturally correct. So for example, the formal writing for the word handbag in simplified Chinese is actually different from the writing that most of the people prefer to use on search engines on Baidu. So therefore, it's very critical to get the wording right for your Baidu ads. And when it comes to writing a targeted ad copy, Baidu lets you highlight the keywords that you would like the audience to look at the first glance. So those words will appear in red in the content of your ads. And beside that, Baidu offers something called location matching symbol, which is an automated function that allows the location-specific word in the ad copies to be changed to the correct location according to the whereabouts of the audience. So you don't need to write extra keywords ad copy for every location that you're targeting to, and it will increase your ad coverage, and of course to save time on duplicating the ads. And of course, because of the unique internet environment in China, you need to be very careful that some of the words and phrases are not allowed to be used. So, for example, some sensitive words, some governmental words, some keywords that are easily to mislead the users, those words are not allowed to use. As we have mentioned before in the previous slides, the cost per click depends on the market beats, and it also varies from city to cities as well. So of course, the first line cities like Beijing, Shanghai would definitely be more expensive than the second and third line cities in China. So it is very important to understand your buyer persona at the first hand, including their geographic location. So here's an example of a US company, UE Online, who have worked with us to firstly improve their localized Chinese website. So they already had a web and a physical presence in China, but their website was not optimized and they were struggling to generate leads. So after completing the website redesign and relaunch, UE Online are taking advantage of our online global marketing program and expanding their strategy to Baidu search and display ads, and have been seeing really good results not only in their website traffic, but also the quality and volume of inquiries have been improving month on month. So if you want to know more, there's a video on our website with Julian. I'm sharing their experience. So now I hand over to Sydney, who will take a deeper dive into the social media in China.
Hi everyone, my name is Sydney. So let's look at social media in China and social media marketing in China. Why social media? Because social media is very important, with two dominant one calling Baidu and the two dominant one are Weibo and Wechat. As you can see, they have 1.7 billion users combined, and the newest data showing Weibo has reached 530 million monthly active users, and WeChat has reached 1.1 billion monthly active users. These are shocking numbers. So people are always on their phone, always on these two platforms, sharing and accessing information they like. So other than Baidu ads, like Fiona talked about, so one of the fast ways to build brand awareness in China, particularly for B2B companies, is to use Sina Weibo. People often compare Weibo to Twitter for its short, instant posting feature, but for an online marketing perspective, Weibo is more like Facebook. Weibo lets you to post content to specific targeted audiences in China. So it will give you access to segmented audience base to grow page likes and create some social buzz and to drive the traffic back to your website. This is the main reason why Chinese business use Weibo for their online marketing, and that's why savvy non-Chinese companies are actively joining in. So Weibo has different tools to get your content in front of your target audiences. So the main one are called fan reach and fan headlines, and there are many more. They can all be used for different purposes and objectives depending on your KPIs. Being an open platform, Weibo allows companies to push the content in front of the target audience, meaning that companies don't already have brand recognition in China can get in front of potential prospects. To create great content that audience engages is the key. So you really have to know what your Chinese audience is concerned with, what's the trending topic are, and what they're looking at as opinion leaders, what they're looking to as opinion leaders. So Weibo accounts now can be registered and linked with overseas phone numbers. So you can not only you can register with any phone number anywhere in the world. and it can be verified with incorporation documents from outside mainland China. So Sina has dedicated teams across the globe. So they have a team in North America and a team in Europe, for example, to assist with the process of the verification of your account. So if for company account, it is better to get them verified because it's to the audiences, it will be more trustworthy, and it will be more, it will have more features to push your content in front of the target audience. And those teams around the globe from Sina will also help you set up your paid marketing accounts and analytic packages, so you can see at the back end of your accounts, like your traffic, content reads, likes, how many people engaging with your content, and all sorts of other datas, useful datas. And they can also help you top up your credits to use on your ad spends. The fees in these process, it depends on the exchange rates and can fluctuate on quarterly basis. So let's dive a bit deeper into like the different targeted audience tools. The one called Fan Reach is what's being used the most. It is similar to Twitter's promotional tweets, and in that you can pay to promote content to specific audiences. You can select their age, their gender, their location, their hobbies, and interested topics, etc. Fan Headlines is you can use this function to promote single content, single posts, to the very top of their timeline or their feed, and people, when they're scrolling down, they can see them popping up on their feed instantly. There is also mini tasks. This is a very Chinese solution. It involves reposting your content by key opinion leaders, KOLs. So these KOLs play a huge role in Chinese social media, and there's a vast number of KOLs to choose from. Using Weibo's mini task function, you can control what and when the KOL reposts your content, and the cost reflects the digital following or perceived by the influence of the KOL itself, him or herself. And there's also this function called Super Brand Day. This is a package advertising deal for brands. People can use when you use this function, people will see your ad poster at the moment they open their Weibo app. You can also get exposure of becoming a hot trending hashtag under the exposure section. So according to the recent data, Weibo has increased its monthly active user by 30% last year. So like most Chinese internet use, about 90% of Weibo users access it via their mobile phones. So Weibo benefit from introduce a series of innovations, including Weibo payment to facilitate e-commerce and live streaming capabilities. Because Weibo payment is linked with Alipay to people's account, as Alibaba owns 30% of Weibo. So we have a brief, we have talked about Weibo, what Weibo is, and then here we're gonna take a more practical point of view, how to use Weibo. There's two types of accounts. So ordinary people will go to the personal accounts, which is on the left side, and the companies, you can register a company account or organization account, and you can get it verified. For the company accounts, you will need a business license and sign lots of Chinese paperwork. So just like Baidu, it needs to be renewed annually. But if you get a hand of it, you don't need to upload the same thing every year again, just some updates and pay the annual fee. So the first time can be a bit painful, but afterwards it will be fairly easy. The good news is that you don't need to have a Chinese registered company to be able to get this verification done, you can use US business license or other documents, for example, to verify your accounts. So once you're verified, you get this magic blue V sign next to your account. This means that the Chinese audience will trust you as a legitimate company. So it is really important for your brand awareness and reputation. With your blue V sign, you can now set up Weibo advertising account, which can be helped and assisted by a Sina dedicated team globally. You have to pay an initial deposit of around $800. Then it works very similar to Facebook advertising, just with slightly difference in targeting options. So now, as we mentioned earlier, Weibo could compare, in the marketing point of view, Weibo can be compared to Facebook, and this also allows for paid or sponsored content, or paid ads, if you like. So pay for ads can be problematic, and if you so you have to create content, so they need to your ads need to be reviewed and you need to be approved before it can be seen. And to open an advertising account, there's a lot of license and document paperwork involved in as well. So if we can go to, here's another case study. So Avionics Support Group, or ASG. So they are a Florida company, and has 7 localized websites to help them grow their business internationally. Hugo came to us because he needed websites for Mexico and China to start with. ASG had the problem that they had great China salespeople, but they sell very technical products. So they need to help their China in-market reps. The China website turned out to be the perfect sales tool for their China reps and representatives, as they can use the website to show prospects exact information about different products. It also emphasized to the China prospects that ASG really care about their market enough to build a dedicated website to help them. The return on investment was terrific, as ASG was able to sign a big deal with Chinese airline within a few months of going live. And they have since doubled their international business from $2.5 million to $5 million. If you want to learn more, there's a video of them talking about this, their experience with Weibo and Weibo advertising and their localized website. So apart from Weibo, Wechat is another very, very important part of Chinese people's life. It's really important to understand Wechat and how Chinese consumers and business use this platform. You can consider Wechat like a proxy for the internet in China. On average, Chinese internet users spend 1/3 of their online time on Wechat. Wechat is a Chinese social media app developed by Tencent, which was they used to have a chatting app called QQ, then Wechat took over. They launched in 2013. It's fundamentally a messaging app to start with, but it has since they launched, they have included many more functions and features. So apart from messaging, they have like a paying function like PayPal, so you can pay for anything with your WeChat. They have a social media function like Facebook, so people can post moments of their life in the moment feature. They can order a taxi, they can purchase goods, they can listen to music, they can find dates, they can do buy train tickets, many other things. So they're all rolled into one in this one app. People use WeChat to pay rent, to find a parking space, to make investments, and of course, making friends and find a date, and buy and sell things. WeChat is focused on building a mobile lifestyle. So their goal is to address every aspect of its users' life, including non-social ones. So the way it does this is through the model of apps within an app. Millions of lightweight apps live inside WeChat, much like web pages live on the internet. This makes WeChat more like a browser for mobile websites, or arguably a mobile operating system, complete with its own like specific and unique app store. The lightweight apps on WeChat is called official accounts. So it's like a subscribed page. You can see it in that way. So approved by WeChat after brief application process. There are over 10 million of these official accounts on this platform. There's also a new feature on this platform, which is becoming increasingly popular, which is called mini programs or sub-applications. It is open source and provides advanced features to users such as e-commerce, task management, coupons. They can be individually launched or embedded into your company's official WeChat subscription or service account. In every WeChat user's personal account, there is a section called Wallet. By opening it, the users are given options including transfer, utilities, money for virtual goods, as well as order taxi, movie tickets, and so on. So you can pay for all of them without leaving the app, as long as you add your debit card from Chinese banks only and some selected foreign banks, or your credit cards. Now they can only allow MasterCard or Visa. So if you add these your personal bank cards to it, you can use these features without leaving the app. WeChat Wallet also use QR codes to bridge the gap between online and offline. You will get a QR code that associates with your bank accounts once you have enabled the wallet function in it, and the code that generates that connects with your bank account will automatically update every minute for safety. And retailers, on the other hand, just need to scan the code to accept the payment. So in China, you can see people just showing their phone, there's a code, and the retailers just use the machine to scan it and done, payment done. It's also become a very convenient QR reader for most people in China. So lots of phones probably don't have an embedded QR reader, so they will automatically just open their WeChat to read any QR codes they find. How do I get on WeChat, you might think? So good news is that you don't necessarily need a Chinese ID or registered entity in China to set up a business account, company account. However, if you have a registered entity or someone in China that can use their Chinese ID for the setup, the process will be much easier, but it's not a necessity. So you still need to go through a lot of paperwork and authentication process, but don't worry, WeChat has a dedicated team that is able to verify accounts of foreign organizations by reviewing passports of the contact person you set up or the incorporation documents you submit. There is also the WeChat account authentication also needs to be renewed and paid annually. But you don't need to submit all the documents repeatedly. So just update information and resubmit the whole application every year. The first objective is to get using WeChat is to get brand awareness, enough so that you can explore other big social media venues like WeChat. So building brand awareness, driving traffic, start with a good WeChat and Weibo strategy. Once you have some online momentum, then you have more choice and you can define your online strategy depending on your business objectives and circumstances. So these are the starting points we could recommend that we have seen working well with other clients that we have. And you can also use them to develop an e-commerce strategy, or whichever route of market to market your brand you prefer. So moving on, WeChat moments, like I mentioned. WeChat moments, it's a bit like a social media function within WeChat. WeChat is another very important part of marketing strategies for China market. So that's not as easy as it sounds. WeChat is not like Facebook, even though they have the function, social media function like Facebook, but on marketing point of view, it's not like Facebook, where you can just pay to be seen by your audience. The way WeChat works is to share and access information with your accepted friends. So it is more like a private communication circle of friends. So in WeChat, you have to be invited in, so people have to add you or invite you. So your audience has to already know you to kind of connect with you, and that's why Weibo and Baidu search marketing are very important to get that first awareness in the market. Once you have that, you can start targeting your WeChat strategy. So WeChat is a bit private centered, more targeted, and it's a bit more difficult to start with. So we recommend to start with Weibo and Baidu search marketing first. There are several types of interactions you can have in WeChat. Moments, for example, it's like a Twitter account or Facebook account. So it's like a social media where you have to put your own status or share moments of your life. So in this slide, you can see, so these are some examples of what you can see in the moments. And some brands will post promotional content into people's moments. So when they scroll down, they not only see their friends' moments and live, they also see some brand ads, as you can call it, or promoted content from different brands. But it only gets shared with your friends, direct friends. So people see it, it might just share to a chat with their friends. So it's still in the private circle. Then there are sponsored moments, as you can see, the second one. So the example is from BMW, and that consists of image and short caption with a tiny sponsored button on the circled top right, as you can see. As the BMW moment says, so that circle says sponsored, it's sponsored content. So this moment is not posted like your friends posted. So it's a sponsored content, and you know that it has been shared by your friends, so you can see it. And if you're interested, you can click on details and gets you directly to the BMW's Chinese website. And if you're not interested, then you can just turn off, and BMW cannot show this content to you again. So it's worth noting that these sponsored moments can be really expensive. The price for an ad like this can be anything from $10,000 to $1 million for just one ad. So apart from that, the most priced account is called official account or subscriptions, like I mentioned probably in previous slides as well. It sits on your WeChat feed, but it's in a dedicated section for updates from all your subscribed accounts. So that in your feed on WeChat, you have a list of chats from your friends and chat groups, and there's also a separate section for all your subscribed accounts updates. So this type of accounts can be accessed by scanning a QR code of the account QR code, and also you can, if you know the brand, know their name, you can try to search in the search function within your WeChat app. Or somebody might say, oh, this account looks amazing, they might share their name card to friends, and friends can access it by clicking on the name card their friend shared. So when you're clicking on the account, the user get content updates from the companies. You have to follow them first. Then you can get updates from the companies. So here is the official account from Tesla. So in this, you can see there some content in that big block. That's their post content. So it's like a article. Sometimes it's like a blog article. Sometimes it's just some news updates. So underneath, on the bottom, there are 3 tabs. They are the translation. First one is changed world. The second one is trial and purchase. And the third one is your experience. So these dedicated tabs is to help users to have a 360-degree view of its products. So if you use the trial tab, you can learn more about the Tesla's newest models and even place an order on its website. And customer service and contact feature can also be embedded in these type of accounts. So you can also add a tab just for like customer service. So people tap on it, they can just message you or message your questions, message their comments in, and you can see these from your backend. So you can deal with customer queries this way. So moving on, we can see another example of a brand that utilize the WeChat as their marketing tool. So this is a European company called Fakla. They had the objective of supporting their staff in China. So their 3 goals for their China presence was to generate leads for their local Chinese distributors, brand development and recognition, and also pricing control. So in China, where a lot of consumers are more skeptical and aware of counterfeits and scams, Fakla warned to portray to their Chinese prospects who they were as a company and that they were legitimate with products for the China. So they used showcasing their Chinese products to the Chinese market. In this way, they kind of show they're a legitimate company and they're trustworthy. So pricing control was also important to them because different distributors in China would change and fluctuate their prices depending on their own circumstances. So instead of what Fakla wanted. By having a localized website, they were able to support their objectives and maintain control of their business in China. So people can see what the product's features and pricing and can submit official queries through their localized website. Content is super important on WeChat if you have an official account. It has to be relevant and useful in order to be referred for a business account. So with the goal of getting a corporate social media reach, they started with Weibo and Wechat. They also have a localized website, as I mentioned, and so the potential customers can be redirected to their localized website from WeChat and Weibo. So remember, there is no point having a Weibo or WeChat account if you don't already have a localized website behind it to receive the traffic from. Yeah, so that's how Fakla utilize their Chinese social media. So apart from social media, another element I want to mention here is video platforms in China. As you know, the main video platforms we use, YouTube, is also banned in China. So in China, the most similar equivalent would be Youku, but there are many others. So videos are very important in China as Chinese people love to watch videos. So the videos will instantly get Chinese people's attention and get so many more likes than other types of content. But remember, so there's different platforms like Youku, as I mentioned. So it's very similar to YouTube. and there's also Tencent Video, which is under Tencent, and there's also iQIYI and Bilibili. So Tencent Video has the same owner as WeChat, so all the video you use on your WeChat marketing and you upload on your WeChat official account backend will be hosted on Tencent Videos. And Bilibili is more like consumers, more for consumers and mobile devices, and people often post their own creative videos on Bilibili. So it's a bit more focused on animation, comics, and game-related content. And iQIYI is a streaming platform. People can watch shows and TV shows. It's more popular for that. So Youku is probably the platform that most companies would want to choose, because Youku operates as a subsidiary of Alibaba. So and before there's another platform called Tudou, but the Youku emerged with Tudou and become the mainstream video platform in China. So Youku is now the most dominant video platform in China and can be seen as the Chinese YouTube equivalent. So so they also have some add-ons, like people can also stream shows and watch films on them as well. So to get a Youku account, you just need a phone number. It's very easy. Anyone can just register a Youku account with just a phone number, but that account won't be an official account or verified account. To get your Youku account verified, a real name authentication process is required, and it is also available, good news, for overseas companies. So just more paperwork, but you'll get there. Chinese are not so good at other languages, so it is really important that you have the video dubbed, or at least with subtitles, so people can understand what it says. This is not as hard as it sounded first, but it's really worth investment. And Chinese respond very well with videos. So if you have a dubbed or subtitled video for Chinese audience will remember or know your content and your brand faster than other content. So our recommendation is to add videos to your Chinese website when it's possible, but any video would be a good starting point. So even if you don't have a subtitled video, it's also still worth adding them to your website, because people just like to watch videos in China. So that's pretty much wraps up the social media part.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Sydney. Thank you so much, Fiona. I know that I'm conscious of time, but I just thought that we had really packed information packed session today. We have a couple of slides later on my favorite topic, analytics, and really getting your data and everything, harnessing everything you're doing in China. But before we move on to that one, again, conscious of time, I just want to launch one last or near last quick poll, just to see, give you guys the opportunity. We have covered an awful lot of ground today. I feel we've shared a lot of information, or there is a lot in there. But would you like to learn more about, online marketing in China? Would you like to, to receive more information and to maybe just start a discussion on how the platforms and the tactics that Fiona and Sydney have outlined today could, apply to your business? Any questions you have, if you tried it, didn't work. So if you'd like to find out more and, take the discussion forward, then please do let us know. As we said, we are here to help, and we look forward to, really hearing your direct experiences and see how all of these apply. So I can see that a lot of you are responding and very positive. So that is fantastic to hear. I'm really pleased to see that response, good percentage. I would like to get in touch, for us to get in touch with you with more information. So we'll do so over the next few days. So I'll leave this for a few more seconds as we get the last responses in. As I mentioned, We will only take another 5 minutes of your time just to round off. There are a couple of important elements that we just want to highlight, but promise you'll be back at your desk and in no time. Fantastic, perfect. Thank you so much for your response. And thank you very much, Sydney. Thank you very much, Fiona. Just diving into, as I said, my favorite topic now, which is reporting and analytics. And this is very important. I know that a lot of marketeers might say it's the drier side of marketing, but measuring success is the key to be able to measure ROI. And how do you do that? You need to define your goal. You need to make sure that you know what metrics are important to you. So what are you trying to achieve? Your goals will inform your metrics, and then your metrics will then allow you to measure the success of your marketing strategy, whether you're using Baidu, whether you're using a combination of Baidu, Weibo, Wechat, you're starting from one, launching the others. Knowing what you're trying to achieve, what metrics mean the most to your business, will then allow you to analyze, learn from your data, and really make sure that you optimize your campaigns to get the best return. So before you start designing or launching your marketing strategy, really think about your goals. This will then inform everything that follows. And once it's set up, again, don't forget to keep an eye on them, analyze the results, and if you need, make changes. This is super important when entering a new market or using a platform that you may be not too familiar with. The good news, thinking about China, Google Analytics is still a very valuable tool to track your Chinese side metrics. I know that a lot of you will be familiar with Google Analytics. A lot of you might be thinking, oh my gosh, again, this is a landfill. It's a lot of information over there. How do I get out of it? But it's a fantastic tool that will not only allow you to track how your localized website is performing, but also, seeing where the traffic is coming from, who is engaging, where do they come from? All of this is very important. However, again, it's very important when looking at China to keep in mind that due to the very high usage of VPNs, some of the data present, you might see some discrepancies, but nonetheless, is still a very good starting point and a very good tool to then incorporate everything with your domestic or other international marketing campaigns for comparison purposes. But the even better news is that, the platforms that we've talked about today, so Baidu, but also Weibo, Wechat, they all offer their own native, additional, in-depth analytic platform that can really help you understand and optimize your marketing campaigns. Fiona was mentioning for Baidu, and Sydney mentioned for Weibo. These analytics are key to help you not just understand whether you are getting traffic, but what keywords are bringing in the traffic, when are people engaging, what kind of content they're finding more relevant, is a video performing better than a carousel style post. So all of this will be tracked and available in the back end of some of those platforms. So you can see there is a lot more data that you can leverage to really learn and optimize from what you're doing in China. The bad news, very little of this is translated into English, and some of these features are, surprise, only available on mobile. So again, this can make reporting and linking it back to what you're doing domestically a little harder. But again, it's important to keep an eye and make sure that you leverage all of the information you have to analyze, learn, and optimize your marketing efforts. Just to conclude, bringing it all together, what does it mean? So we have here discussed a number of platforms. The key to using them together is to be found. Get in front of users that are searching for your keywords. They're already searching for the services and products that you can offer. Get on Baidu and appear at the top of the searches. Engage with your audience. Create and share compelling content that will then get them to click on it, navigate through your website, engage and interact with them. Remarket to them. All of these platforms allow you the option to gather pixel data, get in front of your audience wherever they are. So if they found you on Baidu, remarketing will allow you to be in front of them, front of their mind, whilst they are, navigating and researching on Weibo, on Wechat, when they're looking at potential reviews on Youko. And again, analyze and optimize, use the data on all of these platforms to ensure you're reaching the right audience with the right message at the right time on the right platform. Again, online marketing in China, what does it mean? What do you need? Keep in mind it's market specific and very, very, very client focused. So build a localized website presence to act as your local springboard where everything else will then stem from. Get to know your audience. Who are they? What do they want to know? How are they searching? And then use this to be found on the right search engine platform. Be on Baidu. Set your goals and launch a solid social media strategy through the platform that your audience are more likely to engage on. Look, analyze, keep learning, and the last, don't stop. It might take some time to gain momentum. It's a new market, there are new platforms. Keep optimizing, keep learning, and you'll see that the results will come through. Excellent. So really just to conclude here, I just wanted to reiterate what we mentioned at the beginning. Our online global programs cover both website localization and international online marketing. So these programs, we've seen a number of platforms. You might be thinking, oh, that's not too relevant for us, or we have a very specific business model. That's okay. As I've mentioned, these programs have been built with the idea to support companies achieve your business goals with award-winning programs that can be tailored to your specific business, your industry, your goals, and your need. So all of this will then come together with a bespoke strategy, but it's important to keep in mind that you need to be aware and on the right platform to be able to be found, be understood, and grow your traffic, conversion, and sales on your Chinese marketing strategy, leading back to your localized website. Here again, the online world is localized. Your clients, your prospect, your future employee, your suppliers, they will all search online in the local environment. Again, be mindful of the platforms, be mindful of who you're trying to reach and where they engage. Localized websites, international online marketing will allow you to get found, be understood, and do business with your desired audiences in China. As I've mentioned earlier, we have a lot of resources on the website. There is a handout for today that you can download on your taskbar, which is a China infographic, just rounding off a little bit what we've described in terms of the Chinese online environment. And before we dive into the Q&A, I have seen a few questions come through for Cindy and Fiona as they were presenting. I'd just like to launch a very final poll just to see whether you guys would like to learn more about the online global marketing program and receive some information about how this could work, what are the elements, and how we can support you in not just localizing your presence, but also launching and growing your marketing strategy in China. So as I said, this is part of the different programs that we offer, and it's great to see that a few of you that stuck with us until the very end are interested. So we'll go into the Q&A in a moment. I'm just going to leave this open for a few more seconds, but that is fantastic. Thank you very much for a very enthusiastic response, and we're really pleased to see that we sparked some interest. For those of you that maybe were just thinking about it at the beginning, hopefully we've been able to provide valuable information that have kind of like get you excited and looking forward to starting a conversation and seeing what online marketing in China could look like for you. Excellent. Let me close this poll and I'll get back to the team for some very quick Q&A. As I mentioned, very conscious of time. We might only have time for a couple, but again, if you have sent us, for those of you who have sent us a question and we won't be able to answer today, don't worry, we'll get back to you individually via email after the webinar. But a couple of the questions are trying to summarize through a few that have come through. I can see there is a couple here that says, maybe to Fiona, as you were talking about that at the beginning, I thought, there were many dialects in China. Do you have to have several websites in China, or will one just cover the whole of the country?
Okay, so as I've mentioned before, because the common language for the Chinese market is Mandarin for the internet, so you just need to have a simplified Chinese for the writing. So because it's a simplified Chinese is the standardized throughout the whole throughout the whole China, so you just need to have one website for 1.4 billion people. So so yeah, you just need one.
Not a bad investment after all.
That's true.
One very last question, and maybe Sydney can ask you this. We talked about ICP and filing costs for websites and all of the paperwork. How do we go about it? You know, how much does an ICP filing cost, for example?
I don't believe ICP filings will cost you anything, but it's more like it depends on whether you have an in-country person to do it for you, or but for ICP filing you do need an in-country person, otherwise you can't really host website in China. But to host website in China and go through the ICP filing, you have to have a contact inside China to do this for you, because they only accept Chinese documents. So this can be if you have a registered office there, or if you have a representative office there, or just a representative person there, or you can also, if you trust your distributors or your partners in China, you can also go through let them go through this process for you in their name, or they can be registered as your official representative in China and have all the documents in your name. So it's depending on how your relationships are, like what your circumstances, your presence already in China, and your relationships to your partners and distributors in China.
Excellent, thank you very much. Perfect. Just again, apologies for going a little bit over the hour. We hope that you found it helpful. Just a few questions coming in about the online marketing, the online global programs. Yes, they do cover both website localization and international marketing. We have separate programs, so don't hesitate to go on our website, find out more, or just get in touch with us. You have our contact details here. We'll be sending you a recording of the webinar today within 2 business days, I believe, by the end of the week. So you'll have it in your inbox. Feel free to get in touch, and you know, have a great day ahead. Happy exporting, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you, Fiona. Thank you, Sydney, for joining me. Much appreciated. Fantastic content. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.